Namaskar. Today we will be discussing about a very important and interesting subject, the law of karma. The subject is important because every single religion, philosophy and ideology that has been born in India believes in the law of karma. Different religions like Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism and of course Hinduism have different ideas about God, existence, reality, soul. And even in Hinduism, there are several subsections which have very different ideologies. But all of them believe in the law of karma. There have been so many philosophers, so many great sages from different perspectives, from different regions, specifically in the East, who have believed in the law of karma and have given exceptionally good examples, exceptionally good understanding of the law of karma. Nowadays, the word karma has also reached the Western language and it is often referenced in pop culture as well. So basically, everybody in the world has some understanding of karma. But even before Western acceptance, it was said that the understanding of karma is actually hardwired in the human brain. Even a child or even for an adult who hasn't heard about the word karma, phala, and he doesn't believe in it, still has some basic understanding of action and consequence. So starting from this basic understanding that even a child has, there are different levels of understanding of karma. In this video, we will be talking about every single understanding and we will add a question which will raise our understanding from one level to the other. We will keep doing so until we reach the level of understanding of Vedanta. It is on this level where I will explain how karma works according to the Upanishad and according to Vedanta. So before I start talking about these different levels of understanding, a small selfish request. Do consider subscribing to my channel and sharing this video to help support me in spreading the knowledge of ancient India to the modern society. So let's begin. So the most basic understanding of karma that comes naturally to even a 5-year-old can be called as action and consequence, as I said. Basically, if I put my hand in fire, it will burn. Even a child knows that. So, this consequence of action is coming from nature. We realize that. But it's not just limited to nature. This consequence of action could also come from an authority. Like a child might know that if I spill that milk, my mother will come and yell at me. Again, action and consequence. But here the consequence is due to an authority. A little bit step further, suppose you are an adult. You know that if you won't write a word in your exam paper, you will get 0 marks. If you are in office and if your boss has called you and if you don't answer back, he will yell at you. Again, action and consequence. Either due to an authority or due to a system placed by an authority. You don't need to be a Hindu or a philosopher to understand. Absolute basic step understood by everybody. Now let's add one question to it, to move one step further. What if our action is not against a powerful enemy in nature like fire? Or what if our action is in no shape or form related to offending an authority or a system placed by an authority? For example, a man is walking down the road, a horrible man. He kicks a puppy in the side of the road who is not doing anything to him, just eating his food. Actually, it's not a made-up scenario. It actually happened. There was a CCTV footage of a man actually beating a puppy to death, just sitting in the corner of the road. Horrible. Again, these kind of scenarios make us think about the existence of karma. So anyway, this horrible man did this horrible thing. But it was not against a strong enemy of nature. It was against nature. But the enemy was not strong. Fire is a strong enemy. If this man had kicked fire, he would have been burned. We would all be happy. But no, he had attacked a defenseless and helpless puppy who couldn't fight back. So, will this person get the result of his karma? The bharatiya Indian philosophy says yes. Absolutely he will. He will get the exact same amount of suffering that he has given to this puppy. I know there are questions coming into your mind. These will be the next question. But let me complete this level. Similarly, if you do a good deed, like saving a puppy, or any good deed in general, would you get the same amount of happiness that you have inhibited to the other person? Like you save a puppy from a horrible person like the previous person we talked about. If you save a dying puppy, would you get the happiness that you have given that puppy by saving him? Again, Indian philosophy, Bharatiya Darshan says yes. You will get back the same amount of happiness that you have given to another person. So now, the main question comes. The question which has come in everybody's mind at some point or the other. That I see so many horrible people living perfectly happy life in luxurious condition. Nothing bad happens to them, but they have done horrible deeds. And there are so many people who are absolutely innocent, but they lead such horrible, miserable life. Small children who are born in poverty, who see hunger right from when they are born. What did they do? They were just born, right? What bad karma did they do? The Indian philosophies answer this question with the concept of punarjanma or multiple births. According to it, you have been born again and again several times, and you have done several things, some good, some bad. And what you are experiencing in life right now is a result of that. I know it doesn't sound fair. I have been dealing with the question of fairness from a very long time. We will discuss about the point of fairness in the further levels. Right now, I would like you to notice one thing. How we are moving from one level of understanding to the other by questioning. I think this is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma, or you can say every Eastern religion, that you won't be called against God if you question. We say that when you start questioning and when you start actually seeking the answers from yourself or from other known people, then that is your first step into spirituality. However, you might have noticed that these days you can see in debates that people don't usually ask questions to get the answer. People ask questions to attack a person. They won't even listen when the answer is being given. This is not seeking. This is arrogance and ignorance. And this will not take you anywhere. So my point is, whether it is physics, chemistry or spirituality, the more you question and the more you seriously seek the answers, the more you will move forward. Anyway, I was talking about the question of fairness. So now, let's discuss about the great question of fairness that I was talking about. Is it fair that I am being punished for something I did in my previous life or life before that? I don't even remember it. You might say that I was a totally different person. But were you really a totally different person? But you are the same person, the Upanishads would say. Just because you don't have conscious memory of something happening does not mean that you will not face the consequence of them. Even in this life, there are several things that might have happened to you whose memory you do not have, but whose consequence you still are suffering. Let's take two examples. The first example. Suppose you were a very stupid small child and you decided to put your hand in fire. I don't know why I keep giving this example, but let's say you were a stupid small child and you decided to put your hands in fire and two of your fingers burned off. Now you are an adult. You don't have the memory of when you did that, but you still have two burned fingers, right? Does it affect you still? Yeah, you can't write from that hand. You would say that of course this is applicable to me because this is the same body. So I will take you towards clinical psychology now. It's a sort of sad example, but it would help you understand this whole concept and law of karma better. There are several diseases known in clinical psychology which are known as trauma response. These are caused when some kind of trauma has occurred to a person. And often, the person would not remember the trauma at all. In many cases, it is due to childhood trauma. Some kind of abuse that has happened to a person when he or she was a child. And when the grown-up does not remember anything of that childhood at all, still that person has these several diseases which are trauma response. Such diseases are DID, psychosis, schizophrenia, etc. They are often caused by childhood trauma. The trauma that the child doesn't remember, that the adult doesn't remember, but still the consequences are faced by the person. So even Western psychology, even science agrees that just because you don't remember something, you will not face the consequence of it. But now the bigger question comes up. This question was actually asked to me by a person in a video titled Who Am I think it was titled that, where I was explaining the utter pureness of a soul, that is Atma, Brahma. In that video, I had talked about how Atma is actually Satchidananda. It is Sat, it is the ultimate truth. It is Chit, it is conscious, and it is Ananda. It is the source of all happiness. So this person asked me a very question that was based on a very common phrase that we say. We say that when a person dies, his Atma goes from one body to the other. So this person asked that how is karma applicable to Atma if Atma is absolutely pure, it is a part of God, it is believed in some Indian philosophies, and it is Brahma itself which is believed in Advaita Vedanta. How is these bad things applicable to such a pure Atma? First of all, it is a misconception. After death, Atma does not travel from one body to another. Sukshma Sharir does. Now in the previous example of the trauma survivor, if you were thinking that of course a person experiences the result of that trauma because the person has the same brain. In the next body, I would not have the same brain. You would get the answer to this question in this level also. This is the final level for this video at least. This is the level where we will talk about how karma works. The Vedantic, the Upanishadic understanding of karma. To begin our understanding, we need to first understand the pancha kosha, the 5 shields or the 5 layers of human identification. These are very well explained in Taitreya Upanishad. These can be said as anatomy of a human, but unlike the medical science where the anatomy stops at the physical body, this pancha kosha does not stop at physical body. Let's start from the beginning. The first and the outermost kosha is the annamaya kosha, called the bag of food. Basically, your entire physical body, all of your organs, everything comes in the annamaya kosha, your sthula sharira. Your second kosha is the pranamaya kosha. It has your pranavayu, all of your vital forces which are necessary for life. Digestion, circulation of blood, breathing, all these come under pranamaya kosha. Now next we move towards sukshma sharira. After pranamaya kosha comes manomaya kosha. Manomaya kosha is where your mind resides. This is your mind. But are you your mind? This is the understanding, this is the identification which almost every human has. I am sad, I am happy, I want this, I want that. Almost everybody in the world, now you can say, identifies themselves as their mind. They are not able to differentiate. But are you really your mind? The Upanishads say that no, of course you are not your mind. You can observe your mind. You can observe that your mind is happy or sad. Your mind is variable. It changes from day to day. But you are the same, right? At least you can realize this for your birth, this birth, that you have always been constant. But your mind changes every day, even every hour, sometimes even every second your mind changes. It has different views about something or the other. It has different states. You are not your mind. Let's go deeper. Next is Vijnanamaya Kosha. The Vijnanamaya Kosha is the intelligence sheath. Many people, many philosophers believe that intelligence is consciousness. But Upanishads say no. Vedanta says no. You are not your intelligence. You can observe your intelligence. I know this. I do not know this. You can observe that your intelligence has changed several times from when you were born till today. You learned something in school. Before that you didn't know it. Now you have forgotten about it. Your intelligence changes now and then, again and again. You are not your intelligence. You have always been the same. You are the observer of all these things. You are the observer of your sthula sharira, of your physical body. You are observer of your prana. You are the observer of your mind. You are the observer of your intelligence. You are the atma. You are the observer. And these are your Sukshma Sharira. The law of karma applies on the Sukshma Sharira. But we are not done yet. There is one last sheath. It is the Anandamaya kosha. The innermost kosha, you can say. The Anandamaya kosha. This is called the source of all your bliss. This is called the source of all ananda that you get in life. But you can observe all the kosha. When can you observe the Anandamaya kosha? In deep sleep, it is said. In very, very deep sleep, where there are no dreams. That time when there is no identification, no memory, nothing. That is when you can realize the Anandamaya kosha. So when a person dies, his sthula sharira, his physical body is of course gone, either burnt or decayed. But Upanishads say that the Sukshma Sharira, the Manomaya kosha, the Vijnanamaya kosha and the Anandamaya kosha move and take a new body. A very brilliant example is given for this situation. It is said that our body is like, our physical body is like a wooden bucket and our Sukshma Sharira is like water inside it. So this wooden bucket, which is a representation of our physical body, when time passes by, it ages, it deteriorates. So there are cracks on this wooden bucket. Then the inside of this bucket, that is water, which is the representation of our Sukshma Sharira, flows out of the old wooden bucket and gets into the new one. Now, this is where you can reference and ask about the example that I gave in the last level, that of a trauma survivor. That a person experiences the result of his trauma even when he does not have the memory of it. You can say that, but this happens because a person has the same brain. When, suppose you are taking the rebirth, the same brain is not there, and memory and intelligence and all these things are in the brain. I love the answer that was given by Swami Sarvapriyananda on this question. To neurologists, he said, how do you know? How do you know that everything, all these things are in the brain? Current neurology is just the measure of what you have told them and what they see in the brain. You tell them you are happy. They see that there are some spikes which are caused when you say that you are happy. But can you say for sure, 100%, that is what he said, that can you say for sure that your brain is the one that causes it? The Upanishads state that your mind, your intelligence and your karmic identity is not limited to one body and one brain. It is a part of your Sukshma Sharira. Even nowadays, the concept of body memory has been getting conceptualized in modern science as well. Of course, you don't remember consciously the memories of your past life. But so don't you remember the memories of most of your childhood, right? They are present in your subconsciousness. That is what is believed in Vedanta and in Upanishads. Just as something you did in your childhood, something horrible perhaps, the guilt might still be present even if you don't have the memory. Similarly, something that was done by you in your previous life is still present in your Sukshma Sharira, is still a part of your kosha, Vijnanamaya, Manomaya and Anandamaya kosha. Anandamaya kosha is often referred to as the kosha which carries the karmic knowledge, which carries the karmic information. The last understanding is the yogic understanding. The understanding which releases a person from karma phala.